Long ago, across the islands of Japan, life was governed not only by emperors and shoguns, but also by rules that now seem surreal. Strange laws born of belief, politics, and ritual shaped everyday existence in ways that feel more like a fable than history. Imagine a world where the length of your sleeve, the height of your gait, or the color of your robe could determine your destiny. Breaking these laws often brought punishments far harsher than the crime itself. Tonight, we drift back into this forgotten realm where order was more important than freedom, and even the smallest details of life were bound by law. If you enjoy wandering through the hidden corridors of history, remember to gently like this video and subscribe so you never miss another bedtime journey into the past. In the Heian period, beginning in 794, the imperial court adopted legal codes modeled after China, called the Ritsuryo. But while they began as practical rules of taxation and land, they soon absorbed uniquely Japanese values. Harmony, was prized above all else. Laws did not only punish crime, they preserved ritual, etiquette, and appearances. A nobleman could be censured not for violence, but for wearing the wrong color at the wrong time. In this society, the line between crime and embarrassment was often invisible. One curious law declared that only the highest nobles could wear scarlet dye. Red was sacred, a color of power and vitality. If a lesser noble appeared at court wearing it, he risked exile or disgrace. What seemed like vanity was treated as cosmic order. Clothing was not mere fashion, but a reflection of the balance between heaven and earth. Architecture was also restricted. In the Edo period, commoners were forbidden to build gates or fences taller than those of samurai. A home's threshold was not just wood and nails, it was a sign of rank. Those who defied the law sometimes saw their houses torn down by order of officials. Even the walls around you spoke of who you were. Hairstyles were equally regulated. The shon mage, the shaved crown and topknot, was reserved for samurai. For a commoner to copy, it was fraud, an insult to the warrior class. Punishment could be public humiliation, the head shaved bare as a warning. Something as simple as hair could separate life as a peasant from the honor of the warrior. Knowledge, too, was controlled. During Japan's long period of isolation, foreign books were banned, not for obscenity, but for dangerous ideas. A traveler caught with a Western atlas could face prison. Yet Dutch medicine and astronomy were quietly permitted, studied under the name Rangaku, Dutch learning. The law acted as a sieve, letting in only the knowledge the shogunate allowed. Food fell under regulation as well. For centuries, eating meat from four-legged animals was outlawed under Buddhist influence. To eat beef or pork was seen as spiritually corrupting. Fish and birds were acceptable, but cattle, horses, and dogs were forbidden. The samurai sometimes bent the rules in secret, but for most people, daily meals were an act of law as much as faith. Marriage among nobles was also shaped by law. In the Heian court, visiting marriage was common. A man visited a woman's home at night, and if these visits continued regularly, the union was recognized. Rules dictated the gifts, the frequency of visits, and even the intervals allowed. Love itself was measured in schedules and rituals more than in words of affection. By the Edo period, sumptuary laws multiplied. Merchants, though wealthy, could not wear silk or gold embroidery. Their robes had to be plain cotton, no matter how much money they possessed. To wear silk illegally risked fines or confiscation. In this way, fashion was frozen by law, keeping every class in its place. Fire was another concern. In Edo, a city of paper and wood, blazes spread with terrifying speed. Laws strictly regulated lanterns, stoves, and even smoking pipes. At night, whole districts were forbidden from using flames, and violators faced harsh punishment. To light a single candle carelessly could be treated as a crime against the city itself. Even funerals were controlled. Commoners could not hold elaborate ceremonies or build large tombs. Only the elite could raise stone monuments. Ordinary people were limited to wooden markers and simple rites. Death, like life, had to remain modest, reinforcing the social divide even in the afterlife. In times of famine, laws reached into taverns and festivals. Brewing sake was banned to conserve rice. Sake was not only a drink, but a sacred part of rituals, so this prohibition struck deep. Inns went quiet, ceremonies changed, and celebrations dimmed. Joy itself, it seemed, could be outlawed when survival was at stake. One of the strangest sets of laws came from Shogun Tokugawa Tsunayoshi, remembered as the Dog Shogun. He issued edicts protecting animals, especially dogs, making it illegal to harm them. Stray dogs were housed in vast government kennels, some sheltering tens of thousands of animals. To mistreat a dog could mean execution, even as peasants went hungry. In these years, the law placed animals above people, leaving behind one of the most bewildering legacies of Japan's past. Astrology also entered the law. Certain unlucky days, called kuyobi, forbade farmers from planting and merchants from selling. To defy the rule was to invite cosmic disaster, not only on oneself, but on the community. The calendar was not a tool of time, but of law and fate. The theater, too, was restricted. Kabuki was dazzling, but its popularity troubled the authorities. Women were banned from performing, said to cause immorality. When boys replaced them, they too were forbidden. In the end, only adult men in wigs and makeup were allowed, shaping kabuki into the tradition still seen today. What began as entertainment became law's domain. Even names were controlled. For centuries, peasants were forbidden to have surnames. Family names were a privilege of samurai and nobility. Only during the Meiji Restoration of the 19th century were surnames granted to all. Until then, even your very identity was regulated by law. Through all of this, a pattern emerges. The strange laws of ancient Japan were less about crime and more about order. They kept each robe, each house, each person in a fixed role. Harmony mattered more than fairness. To live under these laws was to perform on a stage, each action carefully prescribed, and yet people resisted in quiet ways. Merchants hid silk robes beneath cotton layers. Scholars smuggled forbidden books under false covers. Farmers celebrated in secret corners. Even in the tightest web of law, human spirit found its own path. As we leave this world of peculiar rules, we see how law is never just punishment. It can be ritual, identity, or belief. The laws of ancient Japan reveal a society where power was expressed not through freedom, but through control of the smallest details. And yet, they remind us that no matter the time or place, people always seek to carve out their own space within the rules. So as you drift toward sleep, imagine the gates cut down to size, the plain robes of merchants, the dim lanterns of Edo nights, and the stray dogs wandering safely through the city. A world balanced between order and absurdity, harmony and restriction. If you enjoyed this gentle journey through the curious past, remember to like, subscribe, and join me next time as we wander again into the strange, soothing corners of history.